Hi everyone, welcome to Ekascloud. So today our discuss about increasing OS disk size of virtual machine and add a data disk to an existing virtual machines. So once again, today our task in Azure Cloud platforms OS disk size of virtual machines and add a data disk to an existing VM. So now I log in my Azure portal accounts. So first I create the resource groups. Our resource groups name called Raja-RG. Region is East US. So review and create. Already we discussed in in previous webinar. We discussed how to create resource groups and VM. So now once again I create and listen these resource groups. So resource group means inside resource group multiple logical resources are there. So next I create virtual machines, one Windows virtual machines, create VM. So there is our subscription type and now I choose our resource group and our virtual machine name Windows, our regions, availability option no infrastructure redundancy required, our OS image 2012 R2 data centers. This is our VM size 2 CPU 8 GB RAM and username password, type username password. And once again so this is I am choose RTB. Why? Because today we discussed disk Azure disk, how to increase OS disk and add another one, how to add data disk to an existing VM. So that's why I only choose RTP. So this is license term. I check this, I confirm and next, and no one it change this side, next and next, no one change this sides, is management. So now go to next, in advance no one change, next. So why? Because I go to next. This is a testing purpose only, so that's why I go only use for basic options. So now I create VM, installation, deployments. Now deployment is progress, is going. So still wait some few minutes. Is VM will be created. So generally in physical machines, RAM, hard disk are there. In hard disk, example 500 GB hard disk. So we do create partitions divided the disk storages. So now these sites, example, these sites OS disk default 127 GBs are there. So how to increase the OS disk? English means, example, I increase 13 GB. 13 GB means 127 plus 13 GB, 150 GBs I increased. That is our task now. So now I go to our resource. So now I create one Windows virtual machines running Windows Server operating systems 2012 R2. So now I copy the public IP address, go to our run prompt, my physical machines, mstsc, and copy the public IP address for the VM and connect now. So now I log in our Azure portal VM. The password and click OK. Yes, you put yes. So now I will log in our Windows Server 2012 R2 VM. So see, this is our default VM OS disk size. See this side, server manager. Disk. So see this side, 127 GBs are there. So this is our default OS disk size. So now how to increase this OS disk size? Example, I add 13 GB, 13 GB or 23 GB. I added this OS disk. So 127 plus 23, 150 GB is increase the OS disk. So how to increase this OS disk? So see there now. So go to disk, this side, in a VM side, go to disk. So this is our disk name, OS disk. So inside the disk, go to size and performance. We go to add 150 GB. But this side no option is there, resize options. Why? Because in running stated cannot change OS disk size is increased. How to change? First you off your VM and after you change it possible. So now I try to increase our OS disk, is no options are there. Why? Because in running time OS disk is not no option is change this OS disk. Otherwise first you off VM and you change do it. So now I go to off the VM. Now I stop my VM. I stop our virtual machines. So then only we increase OS disk. Otherwise no way is there. So Now that process is going. So now successfully stopped our VM. So successfully stopped. So now I go to that options, go to disk, OS disk. Now I try to increase OS disk size plus performance. So now I try to increase the size. Default 127 GB are there. Now I change 150 GB. So now choose a default options only. Now its resize option is there. Why? Because now I shut down my virtual machines. So now option is there. So now resize the OS disk. Now is updating disk size is increased. So now successfully, and go to VM. Now start our VM. Starting process is going. Now what I done this side, now increase OS disk and shut down our virtual machine. After I change increase our OS disk 127 plus 23, so total 150 GB OS disk are there. Now I check this VM, copy the public IP, go to Microsoft remote desktop connection console. Now we copy the IP, public IP, and now I try to log in. Now I check this side. This side 127 GB are there. Why? See, now unallocated space are there. See there, 23 GB unallocated space. So now I go to C partitions, extend the volume, extend volume 150 GB. So okay, now see there our OS disk size is increased 150 GB. So now I check again, just a refresh. So see this side, our OS disk size is increased 149 GB is a 150 GB. So now I increase our OS disk size. This is one task I completed, and next our task is how to add data disk to an existing VM. I add one disk. how to add this side. So this is option to add data disk to an existing VM. Already I create this VM, so now I go to add one additional data disk. So I go to disk, choose the option is disk, add and attach a new disk. Add and attach a new disk. This is our logic unit number is called maximum. How many hard disks are there? See there, maximum 64 hard disks are there, 0 to 63. So now I choose 0. Data disk name, example, data disk. So data disk. Now I choose the option premium SSD, default one. So and our additional data existing data size, see there, this side 4 GB to 32767 GB added. So now I add only 10 GB, example 10 GB, IOPS 1 default 120 and maximum throw 25, and this is a managed one, encryption is default one I choose, and this is a non options. So now I save. So I create 10 GB additional data disk in add this particular VM. So now I save. So now this process is going, create the disk in particular VM. So now I check our VM. So check our server manager disk side, just a refresh. So add 10 GB data disk. So now I assign, take initialize our disk, yes, and create new volume. GB E drive. So our disk name, example data volume. So now the name data volume, next, and create our disk. So now this close and just refresh. Now allocate our 10 GB disk to an existing VM. So see there, this side 10 GB disk added in existing VM. This is a way of add a data disk to an existing VM. And so today our webinar is enough. So today what I have to turn this webinar, I increase our voice disk size. So next I add one data disk to an existing VM. So thanks for viewing this webinar, and you see next webinar how to take a snapshot and how to restore the snapshot disk. This is our next webinar. So thanks for watching this webinar.